Chapter 15, Purveyors of Fine Goods Since 1847. Travelling through the city at night on the back of a large white cat was something Winston had never imagined himself doing. Now that he was actually doing it, he couldn't believe how exciting and exhilarating it was. With a rescued and only slightly soggy letter once again tucked under his arm, Winston gripped on tightly to his new feline friend and whizzed through the city at a terrific speed. Now that he didn't have to make sure he wasn't about to be stepped on by a giant shoe every few seconds, Winston was able to look around and find out what the city was really like on Christmas Eve. The first thing he noticed, or rather his tummy noticed, was the smell of the glorious food everywhere. Christmas Eve parties were in full swing, and the delicious wafts of food billowing out from the hotel and restaurant kitchens made Winston's belly grumble like a beast. There were roast chestnut sellers on nearly every corner, and the lovely heat from the braziers of the yummy, nutty smell of the chestnuts was almost too much for Winston. He imagined leaping off Prue's back and having an impromptu winter picnic on the side of the road, gobbling up as many chestnuts as he could before he fell over with a big, full belly. Once he delivered his letter to Father Christmas, he might be able to sneak back to one of the cellars and see if anyone had dropped any nuts on the ground. They zipped past an enormous Christmas tree that was standing in a small square, surrounded on three sides by very tall, elegant houses. The tree was bedecked and bejewelled with hundreds of baubles and glittering lights. On a rink in front of the tree, lots of people were all wrapped up in woolly scarves and hats, and mittens were whizzing about on the ice skates, having what looked like a marvellous time. Winston wasn't sure he'd like ice skating. It was hard enough for such a tiny mouse to stand upright on snow, let alone on sheets of ice. But it was wonderful to watch everyone having fun. As they continued on their journey, Prue and Winston came across more shops, restaurants and delicious smells, and Winston turned to listen to more lovely singing coming from nearby. Prue suddenly swerved off the main road and dashed around the corner. She continued along for a short while before coming to a stop. "There we are, young man," she said, very pleased with herself. "Fortescue Department Store, purveyors of fine goods since 1847. Winston looked up at the building and his mouth dropped open. It was the fanciest, most extraordinary building Winston had ever seen. It was covered in windows, large ones on the bottom floor with smart claret-coloured canopies above them and smaller ones on the floors above. The building's grand and ornate facade seemed to shimmer and sparkle so the entire place shone brightly like a pirate's treasure chest. "It's beautiful," Winston gasped. "And Father Christmas is in there." "Well, that's what you told me," said Prue. "We'll head to the main doors over there and we can nip into the shop. It'll be easy. I expect the staff will know who I am because my people are always in there talking about me non-stop," said Prue. "Now, let's get that letter of yours delivered." Winston nodded and held on tightly to Prue's fur as she skipped nimbly across the street and headed for the beautifully polished front doors of the building. "Here we go," said Prue as they trotted towards the entrance. "It will be easy as..." But she didn't finish her sentence because right at that very moment she walked straight into the legs of a man who had appeared out of the shadows.